Hi, I'm Catherine Nelson. I'm a dog trainer in Dixon, California. People are dropping the ball when it comes to their dogs. They're not finishing the process of domestication. And they're letting down everybody. They're letting down the dogs, and they're letting down their own ancestors who bred dogs so that we could have them do stuff for us. And so my job is to try to encourage people to finish that job, to engage the dog, to give him some kind of purpose in life. And everybody's happier when that happens. Dog training is about communication with the dog. It's about trying to communicate with the people, although that's vastly less successful, and judgment, and a sense of aesthetic about what is beautiful, what constitutes a beautiful partnership with your dog, because that's what we want. Right? Yeah, I like my job. It offers me a great deal of freedom and flexibility, and my boss is better than anybody I've ever had.
Who's your boss?
Me. If you're asking what kind of degree would you get to become a dog trainer, I'm not really sure. I think you could do some kind of science, maybe, neuroscience or something like that, because then that would give you an insight into the real science of behavior, right? And that would be very useful. Or psychology, even human psychology, because in the end, our brains are related, right? We're not that different in the way that we learn. So if I were to say, well, what bachelor's degree should you get? I would say some real science of learning, something science-based. I've been training dogs since I was in graduate school, and I trained in clubs around the country, wherever I was going for school, and I thought I was pretty good. And then I got this dog about 15, 16 years ago. I got a dog that I could not handle by myself. He was just beyond me. It was like a different species of animal, and it damaged my ego. And when I moved up to Davis, I was within driving distance of a class given by the man that I eventually did an apprenticeship with up near Jackson, and named Tony Anchetta. And I took his class and basically never looked back. I left my job and did an apprenticeship and started training dogs. Oh, how did I get the job that I have? I made it, right? When I left science, I was doing research science, and when I left, I had to start a business, right? So that really, in California, it's very simple to start a business. So you just print up the business cards, right? Presumably, you have gotten yourself the learning that you need, and you start working, and then you develop a clientele, right? That's all there is. But you make the business yourself. It's difficult. It's scary to have your own business, right? It's not a paycheck does not fall from the sky every 2 weeks, right? You have to go out and drum up the business. So it's not for the faint of heart. So that's like a bird wing, and she just brought it to me from out of the blue, and now I have it. Yay me, right? But at least she didn't run off and eat it up, which is good, because it could have been something that wouldn't be very good for her. So this is a problem that most people have. Their dog, when the dog gets something in his mouth that he shouldn't have, they run after him screeching, right? And then and then they wonder why their dog runs away from them after a while, because you've given this dog the power over you to determine what game you're playing, right? So instead of that, I ask them to reward the dog for coming back to you. Encourage the dog to come back to you, at which point you take the shoe or whatever it was, and you give your dog his toy or a little piece of food or something like that. And then if you do that enough, you just change the what a good girl! She's such a good girl. You change the subject in a good girl. And rewarding her means that she'll come to you with something, disgusting or not, and then you don't have to worry about her running off and either chewing it up and destroying it or eating it, which is worse, right? A lot of dogs end up dead because they eat the wrong things. I get to do what I want. I am my own boss. That's definitely the best thing about it. I get to spend all my time with dogs, especially when I train puppies. That's a pretty sweet deal, right? You're just playing with puppies all day long, and it's great. I mean, that's fabulous. The downside is that, well, there's one more pro, and I think this is serious. That is, you spend so much time good girl, she can have that one. You spend so much time relying on your own judgment that you really do become an individual. That is, you're not, you know for sure that you're not thinking the things that you think because you're going with the herd, right? Because there is no herd. You're basically alone training a dog, right? Most of the day. So so that you really do have this sense of being quite an individual, even if sometimes that's a little bit painful, right? That you find yourself going off the beaten track a little bit. As for the cons, I can tell you quite sincerely that there are days where I just sit and think, wouldn't it be great to get through the whole day with clean fingernails? Wouldn't that just be awesome if my fingernails stayed clean all day long? So there's a lot of dirt. There's dog poop too. Gotta think about it. So there's that. It can get lonely a little bit. There's a little loneliness sometimes that creeps in, but all in all, it's pretty good. Pretty sweet.